superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from news about Devaluation, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, the Ghana Water Company Limited is raising some concerns over the effect of Galamsey illegal mining, warning that it may be forced to shut down its Kwenyako water treatment plant in the coming days if nothing is done to clamp down on Galamsey that's affecting the area. The situation has become dire. We shall hear from the Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Adam Mutawakilo. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. Also, we turn to developments following the Akwetiaba election, where police have launched an investigation into the alleged assault of the New Petote Party's third vice chair, Masawood, during the electoral process. We're monitoring the situation in Benyere, where a mother of 6 is desperately searching for 5 of her children. This comes as the government confirms that over 13,000 people have fled to neighboring Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. We have more of this, including the depreciation of the cedi. We've seen that downward trend now, being ranked the worst performing currency in terms of the rate of depreciation by Bloomberg. Now, what does this mean? The Bank of Ghana says, well, there's really no need to panic. But we'll look into the crystal ball from the analyst's perspective and see how things play out. You're an integral part of the conversation as always. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's start off for Ghana Briefs.
Cabinet has approved a new policy to ensure that Ghana's missions abroad operate from state-owned facilities instead of rented premises. The policy, dubbed Strategic Transition from Rental to Development of Properties, will see the state saving $15 million yearly. President Mahama announced this at the swearing-in of 18 newly appointed ambassadors, high commissioners and protocol officials at the Jubilee House.
Cabinet has promptly approved the STRIDE initiative, and STRIDE refers to the strategic transition from rental to developing our own properties. From my latest briefing, a transaction advisor has been appointed, standard designs are being developed, and funding mechanisms are already being negotiated. Global shifts in geopolitics, economics, and technology require Ghana not only to respond, but also to actively shape trends in ways that benefit our people.
The Office of the Attorney General has announced that a law set to reform legal education will likely be passed by the end of the year. A key change is to have a National Bar Council administer a bar exam, with the current practice of the Ghana School of Law being the only institution accredited to run professional law course halted.
There will be a National Bar Council, so you don't come to any law school in Makola anymore, but when it's time, you apply, you sit for the exam, and then you take it. We are even considering the number of times the exams will be conducted every year. So it may be 3 times in a year, it may be 1 time in a year, but we have not yet reached that point. So that is what we are looking at.
The presiding judge in the murder trial of the immigration officer has admonished the aggrieved family members to allow the law to take its course and not take matters into their own hands. Some family members and sympathizers of the slain officer Stephen King Amoa launched an attack on the suspects in the murder trial and nearly assaulted lawyers representing them while in court. Calls have deepened for Parliament to expedite the passage of a legislation on organ harvesting in the country. Chief Executive of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Yakubu Seidu Adam, who is the latest to make the call, argues that the absence of a law puts undue financial stress on patients in need of the service in seeking treatment abroad. He made the call during a visit by the Parliamentary Select Committee to the hospital.
We have the men here to do the work. If we get the legislation, it will help us. Me, as an eye surgeon, we do cornea transplant. And we can't get cornea here. We have to import corneas from America. The least you get cornea from America, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If we have the legislation, we can harvest the corneas here, and you spend not up to 500 Ghana cedis.
Chairman of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Mark Kurt Nawani, has urged staff at the Ridge Hospital Emergency Unit to communicate effectively with their patients to avoid misunderstandings. He says it is not acceptable for health workers to feel unsafe in their own facilities due to the conduct of aggrieved visitors or relatives of admitted patients.
You can't come to work and you are not safe. You can't give out your best if you are not safe. We came here to see whether your emergency unit is functional as it used to be. I've been here already several times, and I've seen that, yes, it's back to normal. And so let's hope that, such incidents will not happen. The Select Committee of Health will never support anybody who comes here for whatever reason to come and misbehave.
That's more on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So it's probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Comtumtum Preco. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, there's an issue that is impacting a number of not just forest reserves, but water bodies across the country. And this time, the Ghana Galamsey is threatening water supply in some part of the central region. Ghana Water Company Limited is warning of possible shutdown of the Kwenyakon treatment plant. We'll hear from the managing director himself, right? The managing director of the Ghana Water Company Limited. I'm talking about Adam Motawakilu. He has expressed concern over the high turbidity levels of raw water at the Kwenyakon headworks in the central region. Now, he's warning that unless urgent measures are taken, the facility may be forced to shut down in the coming days. Now, this Kwenyakon headworks, one of the key treatment plants in the central region, supplies water to more than 30 districts. Keep that in mind, 30 districts, including Winneba, Swedro, Kaswa, and its environs. However, the pollution in the Ayensu River, which serves as the plant's main intake source, has pushed turbidity levels far beyond the plant's design capacity. In fact, we're talking about now 11,000 as against the ideal turbidity level of about 2,000 thereabout. It's now 11,000. It went as high as over 30,000. Now, Adam Motawakilu was speaking during a working visit to the facility where he disclosed that turbidity levels had soared to over 32,000 nephelometric turbidity units, that's the NTU, last week. And it's dropped now to 11,000 NTU. Take a look at this.
At the intake, the turbidity of the water is not the best. I was told as of last week it went up to 32,000 NTU. And today it's about 11,000. And the design of the plant is to operate at 2,500 NTU. So you realize that even today, the design of the plant times 5 is what the turbidity of the water is. However, Ghana Water Limited and the staff of Kwanyako Headworks and the Central Regional Chief Manager, we are working to make provision to see how, with this level of turbidity, we can continue to produce water to the people of Winneba, Swedro, and its environment, including Kaswa. I've asked the staff, the chief manager, to collaborate with the head office so that we'll be able to know the main source of the pollution, and that is getting a drone to go upstream so that we'll be able to know exactly where the pollution is coming from and to get the appropriate authority to take action. For example, if the drone indicates exactly where the illegal mining is going on, we'll reach out to Minister of Lands and Natural Resources as well as the Minister of Science and Technology for the necessary action to be taken. If not, in the next few weeks or so, the plant might not be able to operate and might be shut down. But we don't want that to happen.
So that's Adam Mutawakilo says we don't want that to happen. And if this continues, they will have no option than to shut down this Kwanyako Headworks treatment plant in the next few days or weeks ahead of us. And that, what we showed you, is the evidence of Galamsey, the illegal mining impact on a number of these treatment plants, including what's happening in Kwanyako. We understand 32,000. This is upon the testimony of the managing director of the Ghana Water Company himself. He said this, 32,000 NTU dropped to 11,000. The ideal NTU level for this plant is just about 2,000 thereabout, and we're seeing 11,000 now. Engineer Dr. Kenashibe is a convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
And this is yet another evidence of the impact of Galamsey, not just on forest cover, but on our water bodies. Ghana Water is mulling the idea again of a shutdown of a treatment plant unless something is done, or because Galamsey has led to increased levels of NTU in this water that serves over 13 districts in the central region. Engineer.
Alfred, you see, we should bear in mind that the turbidity of water somewhere in the central region was 14,000 NTUs last year. That is what caused all that uproar that, culminated in the Catholic Church going out on the streets, caused a lot of us, showing our revulsion that resulted in His Excellency the President and other presidential candidates signing a pact with us. And so when we have situations like this happening, and I hear the CEO talking about 11,000 NTUs and talking about the treatment plant whose stability design is 2,500. The WHO sets the turbidity level for water to be treated at 5 NTUs. And so when you have the situation where you get to 32,000 NTUs, these equipment are supposed to be treating water, not to be treating sludge. And so we've gotten to the point as a people where they are no more using, alum to do the coagulation. We're now using this amalgam, aluminium amalgam that is used in treating wastewater. That is what is being used to treat water for us, and all of this is happening. And as a country, we don't seem to care enough the damage that we are doing to ourselves. You would hear people talking about other things rather than this critical thing. And so I was still waiting for what the Minister for Foreign Affairs said, that His Excellency the President was going to come back to us with some other actions, that would show our revulsion for what is happening. But where we are going to, the Kwanyako water treatment plant is not somewhere in the middle of the Western, the Ashanti, the Western North, where the level of degradation was that bad. But now if we're beginning to see it in Kwanyako, It's now what we're saying is that every water treatment plant is going, you know. And so what is it that we're doing to ourselves as a people? And so, His Excellency the President, you are the number one man that can deal with this problem for us. And it's important that we realize the fact that the state we are in, when you have anybody attacking your water body of your citizenry, that is war that they have declared on us. When 9/11 happened, America did not say that in 9/11, you know, what happened internally, so let's only use the FBI to wage that particular war. They realized the fact that the war has been brought internally to them, and they responded to it. We need to realize that this thing we are dealing with is organized crime. It is something that is eating deep into the soul of our people. And I am hoping that the security briefings that will be given to His Excellency the President, he will see this thing in it. 14,000 NTUs last year were what poured all of us onto the street. Now we are doing 32,000 NTUs at a water treatment plant again. So it is important that we change the way in which we're dealing with this existential threat that confronts all of us as a people.
And this is coming from the Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited. It's coming face to face with this threat that we're talking about and the pollution of these water bodies. And as a result, he says that's led to an increase in the treatment of water. Because now, as you indicated, alum cannot purify the 13,000 NTUs we're talking about. So they have to incur more
Alfred,
costs.
please. Alfred, don't stop talking about purification. Stop talking about purification. All that alum does is coagulation. You see, as you see it being very turbid like that, they also, when they are doing their washing, they wash with all the chemicals and everything back into the river. Last year, we wrote to the Ghana Water Company, and so this MD, if he goes to look into his records, you see it. We've written asking them to confirm for us the level of heavy metals that is in that Kwenyako water, whether it is up to the standards that is drinkable. Let's not forget that there are some scientists in KNUST that have done some work that shows us that Ghana water is not able to take out the heavy metals from the water that they treat. So it's not, they are not even purifying it. All they're doing is trying to clean it up. And even that they cannot use a regular, they're using what they use in treating wastewater. And so that's the level at which we need to be complaining. Yesterday, I was at the hospital, and there was a doctor who was telling me about having gone to Akwetia and some of the disease patterns they were seeing in Akwetia area. Most of these are different from what they see in Accra. You know, but the malarias and the hypertensions that they see in Accra is not what they see in these places. I was in the Sefi area. On one time, there's a doctor in that place also said the mpox that had come, the places that they were getting it in the Western North was all in the Galamsey related areas. So it is important that we realize that beyond the things that we see, the impact on this on our lives is so terrible. And for me, one of the people who also have been quiet for too long is the Ghana, the health team. From the medical association to the nurses to the lab people, they need to start telling us what it is that they are seeing and the impact on this. So we call upon Ghana Water, we call upon Standard Authority, we call upon the FDA, Food and Drugs Board, the water that is being produced for all of us, that you are feeding to us. Is this at the level of, is it healthy for us to be drinking? And we need to also call on our medical people, Ministry of Health. What are you seeing in the areas where Galamsey is endemic? Now it's even come to Kwenyako. So you're sitting somewhere in Winneba, you're sitting in Swedro, and you think that you don't have Galamsey confronting you. But look at the level of, turbidity and, in the water that is being processed for you.
And this water, the source of this water we are seeing polluted like this in Kwenyako, actually is from the Ayensu River, which flows all the way into Kwenyako. So the activity in itself, that's why when you listen to the managing director of the Ghana Water, he says they have to trace the source of the Galamsey because it's not happening in Kwenyako. It's being polluted right from very far away distance, but then again, the result is being felt downhill.
Exactly. And you see, and so that's why we need to, all be mindful about these challenges that confront us. That's these things that we're doing to ourselves, it has, a systemic challenge on ourselves as a country. We are killing, this Ayensu area. Last year, there was one lady who I go to church with. She comes from that neighborhood. And she tells me that the village she comes from, that's their source of water. And when she went there, she saw this level of turbidity as well. And because of that, even in those areas, the disease patterns that they are beginning to see there. But I did not think that, it will get close to the Kwenyaku waterworks the way it's gotten to. And so, the Ayenso itself is gone as well, And so it's important that, our leaders, as leaders, we need to rise up to the situation that we actually are pretending over a situation of self-poisoning, and nobody does this to themselves. That if people stand together and decide that they will poison their own water, nobody does that. And not only is the surface water getting contaminated, even our groundwater also is being impacted. And so for us, all of us as citizens as well, we also are going to be culpable when we sit and we see these things and we don't respond to them. And so, Alfred, I am grateful to you and to the other media people, but I think that we need to start changing what it is that we do. As a coalition, we're planning to hold another press conference, but we now need to start changing the way we do this. And it's important that His Excellency the President realizes that we're in September now, 9 months after he's come into office. He signed a pact with us. And so that requires some action that has to be taken. This activity has led to 8 Ghanaians having lost their lives in the bid to go and, try and get responsible mining to happen, and so it ought to matter. We should not allow these 8 people to have died, and it's as if we've gone back, and it's business as usual. We're looking at roads and all of that. We need to face this particular existential threat that faces all of us. And I would plead with His Excellency that he needs to be dealing with this. We've seen the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources acting as Minister for Environment take a particular action. That is refreshing. But the other things that ought to be done, we're not seeing that being done. And so it is important that we change our modus operandi and find a way of resolving this thing. This thing, and the CEO of the Ghana Water has told you, the cause of this is nothing but this environmental crime that is being perpetrated by environmental criminals. We should stop calling it galamsey. That is what it is. Look at what it is that is happening. And you see, Alfred, what is happening is that gradually around the world, there are places where this organized crime is taking hold. So you go into places like Brazil, you go into Ecuador, you go into Peru. In South America, the center of this organized crime is somewhere in Miami. In Ghana, it's also beginning to take hold. And if we don't deal with it, they will take over like the way now they don't do narco again. It's not narcotics in those places. Mm-hmm. They're also doing illegal mining, especially gold. And as the price of gold hits 3,500, this thing becomes more attractive. And so we need to deal with it. And that's why it's important. I call upon the president and I call upon, Council of State. We call upon the parliamentarians. We call upon the religious leaders, the traditional leaders. Our very existence as a people is at risk. And we need to wake up to it and find a solution to this particular problem that stares us in the face. And we all are complicit by keeping quiet. And those who have to act and are not acting, the blood of Ghanaians are on their heads. The blood of the 8 that died, if we don't take any action, all of us, it will be on our heads.
Engineer Dr. Kanachi, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And he is a convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. We're keeping our eyes on what's happening in Kwenyaku and what would be done to ensure that this plant or this treatment, the headworks, the plant there, is not shut down as a result of galamsey. But coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, it's a heartbreak in Benyini. A mother is searching for 5 of her children as over 13,000 people have had to flee to Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. That's the development now. We took our eyes just a bit off the ball because of the matters with Akwatia and all the issues that happened. But we were very heavy on this Benyere community, it's a farming community in Sola Tunakaba. Sometime last week, the conflict started. Unfortunately, the death toll has risen over time. And I'll tell you the latest when it comes to this death toll. What you're seeing now, government has confirmed that more than 13,000 people have fled this Benyere area in the Sola Tunakaba district following a land dispute which has claimed lives and caused tension in the area. In the midst of the melee, a mother of 6 is desperately searching for her missing 5 children. So she has 6 children, 5 of them have gone missing as a result of this conflict. She cannot find them. And we're showing you these videos of these children who are amongst the displaced persons there as a result of this conflict. We understand over 13,000 Ghanaians are now refugees in Burkina Faso and Côte d'Ivoire as a result of this conflict. That's how serious the situation is. In all, 43,000 and over people, Ghanaians, have been displaced as a result of this conflict in Benyere and its environs. My colleague Christopher Marco is our Savannah regional correspondent, has been following this quite closely. Is joining us on Zoom right now. Chris, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred. Thank you for having me.
We also have Richard Komado. He's a security analyst joining us on Zoom as well. Mr. Komado, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Great. We also have on the telephone the Mahama Zakaria. He is the Savannah Regional NADMO Director. He's joining us as well. Savannah, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Alfred.
Great. Now, Chris, let's start from this point. First off, we're seeing these makeshift tents and the children, women who have been stranded as a result of this conflict. Give us an idea of where these makeshift tents are, what is happening to the residents who have been displaced now. What's going on?
Yes, so Alfred, I must say that that is the Sola police station, which is hosting most of the displaced victims in the Benyere conflict, which has escalated into other parts of the Bole and Sola districts. Now, we have quite a huge number of these displaced victims who are pitching camp at the police station in Sola, even though most of them have left the place. In fact, they have left because of the fear that they have. So whenever a bus from Wa and other places gets to the Sola police station, most of them just board the bus without even knowing where they are going to. That is even the reasons why we have the numbers not as huge as we anticipated it to be. If you go to Vonkoro in neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire, we also have over 13,000 of Ghanaians right now as refugees because they have crossed borders into another community. And so, Alfred, if you were to use the Bole Wa Road passing through Sola, when you get to the Sola police station, you will know how serious this is. The tanks you are seeing belong to the first tranche of the tanks were brought in by the Ghana Red Cross Society with support from NADMO. And the second, that is the ones with the green background from NADMO as part of the relief items that came into the district. And so, Alfred, I can say that even though some relative calm has been restored in the area, but these camps still host most of the displaced victims.
And unfortunately, you tell us that the death toll, the last time we spoke, the death toll was about 12. Now we're talking about over 30 people that have died. What's the exact, as far as you do know?
Yes, so Alfred, the last time the Savannah Regional Minister, who is also chairman of the Savannah Regional Security Council, briefed the media. He told us that the death toll is now 31 confirmed. But you remember we talked about a canoe accident where we are told by the residents that they cannot account for 8 persons who were on board that canoe. So if we are to add the missing individuals, we are hitting somewhere 39. But for now, the NADMO has not declared them as dead because they still believe that a search is still being conducted for them. And so we are not adding them, but that is the number. After, we also have a lot of figures, unconfirmed deaths coming in. But this is just from residents who tell us that on the ground, that look, the death toll that is even being recorded, that may not be the case because for us as residents, we think that the death toll is even more bad. We cannot deal with their figures. That is why we are dealing with the confirmed deaths.
I see. Now, let's hear from NADMO now, because you referenced that the tents we are seeing, the green ones, were provided by NADMO. So, Mama, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Alfred.
Good. Now, we're being told now that we have over 13,000 Ghanaians who are living as refugees in Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, correct?
Yes, it's correct.
So, do you have an idea of how they're living? What's going on? Where are they being camped now? How are they faring?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. They are doing well, and in many of the camps across the Ghana-Côte d'Ivoire border, these people are found there. There is a community right across the border. It is called Vonkore. That is the main camp that is hosting many of these displaced persons that sought refuge at the Côte d'Ivoire part of the border. We have other communities along the Black Volta in that lane that are also hosting some of these displaced persons. We are told that there are about 12 or so, or 13 or so communities that are hosting these displaced persons along that border. So what we in NADMO are doing is to try to identify these communities and to see how we could access them. My regional minister did make an attempt, and he was able, with the team, RESEC, they were able to visit about 8 of such communities along the Black Volta, but they couldn't attend to all. And so, yes, it is true that these people are over there, and we are also doing our best. But Alfred, I must commend the Ivorian government for the support they are giving to our people who have crossed over there. We in NADMO are also doing our part. In fact, we also sent some relief items to these people at Vonkore, and then so that some could be sent to the other camps along that area. What is making it difficult a bit for us is how to get them to return so that they could be well catered for here in Ghana.
But if you say your difficulty now is how to get them to return, what are they returning to? They are fleeing from a conflict. So is the conflict over? Also, you want them to return and to where exactly?
Yes, Alfred, I can confirm to you that given this particular time, the situation is calm. I think for the past 5 or 6 days, we've not heard incidents of shootings. We've not heard incidents of any incident of killing. We've not had any even personal attack on any individual or person. And so gradually things are returning to normalcy in the area. I know, and many who are key players in this area and the stakeholders are seriously engaging, and for that matter, some level of calm has returned.
I see.
Even in some of our areas, I can confirm that some of the people are returning back to their communities. In Solar Town, that looked deserted. When you come to Solar, I think since yesterday and today, things are becoming normal and not looking like how it used to be.
But I'll find out from yes, I'll find out from a security analyst. I'll find out from a security analyst shortly. But 5 or 6 days of relative stability, I mean, would that be enough to make that conclusion or that statement of conviction that it is safe for them to come back? Just because in the last 5 or 6 days there hasn't been any shooting or anything whatsoever.
Alfred, hello.
I can hear you.
Yes. So I am making this appeal because of the level of engagement I know that both the Brifors and Gonjas are engaged in, and the leadership on the part of government and all stakeholders and the role they are playing to bring a lasting peace to the area. The Overlord himself has assured that, indeed, this is not going to continue. Most of the chiefs, when we visit their palaces, give us assurances that, yes, they are talking to their people and this will not continue.
I see.
What they expect from the leadership of both sides is to give assurance and make some level of commitment to the people, to the fact that they are not going to continue this. So as I said, yes, there's no lasting peace. There are processes, there are engagement, and the signs are clear that indeed all parties are interested in ensuring that the place is peaceful and the normalcy returns to the two districts, both Bole and the Solar district,
right,
which are all under the leadership of the Yabunra.
Right. Mr. Zakaria, I can understand if you say you are doing your best under the circumstance, but to say that these displaced children, with the video we are seeing on the screen, the children, the women, and the men, of course, are doing well, it's difficult to accept, at least based on the video evidence of what we're showing on the screen. And also, we have information that some of these persons who have had to flee to Côte d'Ivoire, especially, are sleeping in the open. They are not sleeping in tents. Some of them are sleeping in the open. In fact, it's a bare land where they are exposed to in fact, they are at the mercy of the weather, mosquitoes, and living dangerously. Do you have this information as to where they are sleeping and what is really happening to them?
Yes, Alfred, and I think this is one of the reasons why we think that effort in getting them even back to the camp that has been established in Sola would be appropriate.
So you are confirming the fact that are you confirming the fact that?
As I speak to you,
yes.
As I speak to you, Alfred, just today we have received over 27 people who have come back from the Ivorian side to the camp that has been set up in Sola here.
Right.
And so it's clear that some of them would want to come, and so that we encourage them to rather come to the camp to have some level of decent shelter. As I speak to you, just today, we have issued some relief items, including some of the shelter tents, so that we can carry them to those camps, because we know that some of them, we are told, are sleeping in the open, which for us is a worry. And so we've sent some thanks to them, but we rather encourage that they should come to the camp in Sola. If they still don't feel safe, it is better to be at the camps here in Ghana at Sola than where they find themselves.
I see. I just had to put out on record, because when you said they are doing well, now you're conceding that you know they are sleeping in the open. So, I mean, I'm just struggling to reconcile those two positions.
No,
they are certainly not doing well if they are sleeping in the open. I think that's a fact.
Well.
Yes, but those in Ivory Coast are not.
Yes, those
So why do you
living in
commend?
Sola are
But why do you
doing
commend
well.
the Ivory Coast government? What have they done exactly? Because you say now you know that the Ghanaians living there, they are living in the open, they are sleeping in the open. So what's happening?
Alfred, what I know is that, and hello?
I can hear you.
Yes, so what I'm saying is that, yes, we know, we have that information that those there, some of them are sleeping in the open. And so the step we have taken is to send some shelters to them over there. But what I also said was that those in Ghana here at the camp in Sola are doing well because they are being taken care of and they don't sleep in the open like some of their colleagues or counterparts are sleeping in the open at the Ivory Coast side. And so we think that sending them shelter might not be enough, but when they're here, they will be more, or they'll be better off taking care here than where they find themselves and to sleep in the open. And that was the point I was making.
Right.
Yes, it's also true that we have information that some of them sleep in the open, and that is why we sent some of our tents to them there to help them have at least some roof on their head. But I would also continue to add that we would encourage them, even if it means giving them police escort, to bring them to the established camp in Sola than to continue to live over there in the open. And that's where we think is not the proper thing to do. So we are looking at all these scenarios, and we hope that very soon we are able to get to a lasting solution to this matter.
Right. And Mr. Komando, so listening to NADMO, they say the encouragement is for them to come back because there's been 5 or 6 days of relative calm in the area. From the security perspective, is that reassuring enough?
What we need to do is that what you do in situations such as this is to manage information properly. And you told my brother who spoke because he said certain things, but not in the chronicle order. What the criminals are also doing, and the reason why people will not want to move to their respective homes, is to manipulate for me and create a bizarre situation that you will be killed when you get back. So people will be very comfortable at Sola at the police station rather than going into the community. In those in the emergency area, the nurses involved, the doctors involved, the mode officers involved, gender ministry officers involved, NGO might have been for large cities from all West regions predominantly. They are all involved. They need to match information properly. And that will be a way of reassuring the people they come back home. And once they get home, you have a lot of police activity to ensure that those started the Cape will not come. But cross over to Côte d'Ivoire and we saw the task force from the IGP. They were speaking to those communities. We will need to find out from our foreign ministry in the acts of our ambassadors, whether the foreign ministries in Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso might aware that people go back to their country and what was their responses in getting to where the names are. Other than that, it becomes a business as usual within black communities. In moments of distress, when you cross over to your vessel, what they have is what you enjoy with. And if it's also not comfortable in terms of this provide you a comfortable accommodation, then they will have access on the hand, and that will be the reason why some will be sleeping in the old, which in there is a security and a safety breach in that guy.
I see. And Mr. Komando, appreciate you for this, and I thank you. So, but Mr. Zakaria, before I let you go, how do you send exactly to the people? I mean, our colleagues, I beg your pardon, our citizens in Côte d'Ivoire who are living as refugees now, in Burkina Faso as well, what exactly are the items that you sent to them?
Yes, thank you, Alfred. We sent them some mosquito nets We've also sent them some rice and cooking oil. We've also made available some plastic buckets for them for their usage. We've sent them some blankets, and we'll send them drinking cups. And then we also sent them shelters, the tents, some of the tents, so that at least it could support some of them to get some sleeping place on top of their head, and some other mosquito coils, and some other very necessary items that could, some way mitigate the suffering in terms of weather, mosquito bites, and all those things. So yes, these were some of the package we've taken to them. Right. And our Director General has also promised to send more of such items, especially mattresses and more of the blankets and the tents that they need to put on top of their heads.
Right. I thank you very much, Muhammad Zakaria. Thank you for joining us. But here's what the Interior Minister, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has been saying, that they're working with the Ivorian authorities. They give the confirmation of some 13,253 Ghanaians who have fled to Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso as we speak. Here's what we do know when it comes to the basics, the statistics as we have it. The death toll now 31. 48,000 Ghanaians and over displaced. About 14,000 crossed to neighboring Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire. Thousands others being camped in makeshift tents, as we've been showing you. About 12 communities affected. Now, that amongst the dead, we're told, are children and women as well. Unfortunately, these numbers, as we're seeing. And Christopher Marco spoke to a woman who had 6 children. Now she cannot find 5 of her 6 children. And she's brokenhearted, as expected. And this is it. Take a look.
Nti danu ntakwa ne hye ase na anajo ye wo ha na omose nkrofo bi ba nti nkwara no ti ya na omudwane wuram ye nyina ye wuram nti ye koda ya de kyen ye nyina ye ba no ni so omo.
When the conflict started, we were told some individuals were coming, so my kids and I ran into the bushes for safety. After spending the night there, I came back to look for them, but I couldn't find them. When I asked of the whereabouts of my kids, no one said anything. After spending 4 days in the bush, I came back thinking things had gone back to normal, but it hadn't. The police told us to come here, and I still haven't heard from my 5 children.
A police for buyer say yambraha. Na de baha nti bepem na minti nkola ne nka nkola 5 minti wo nka bi
And so, Chris, very quickly, any news on the whereabouts of her children as we speak?
Alfred, not yet. And I had to end that interview that day because I was heartbroken, just looking straight into her eyes, and the fact that she could not find 5 of her children until then. She doesn't know their whereabouts. It's very pathetic, Alfred. But we pray that probably the 5 children have fled to other places. Maybe as NADMO is saying that very soon they will begin reintegrating them into their communities. Hopefully, this woman will find her 5 children.
Indeed. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Christopher Marcos, our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent. Thank you to you as well, Muhammad Zakaria, the NADMO director in the Savannah region, which is Kumado security analyst. Thank you. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. We'll talk matters of the city after this quick break.
reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Well, so question is, what is happening to the city? Now, the city crashes. Ghana's currency now, according to Bloomberg, the world's worst performing currency in the third quarter. That's the context. In the third quarter, amidst this soaring dollar demand, as we have seen over the period. And they put out some statistics just to put the matters in context. This is it. In terms of the losses within this third quarter against the dollar, Bloomberg says, this is it. The Ethiopian birr, Chilean peso, the least in terms of the depreciation, the Dominican Republic's peso, Botswana Pula, and this they are ranking in terms of the currencies that were doing well and the rate at which they have lost. Ghana Cedi, as we're seeing in this third quarter, 13.4% depreciation against, and this was against the dollar. Now, quite apart from that, if you look at the general rate of depreciation year to date against the dollar, 51.6%. That's what has led to the classification of the cedi being the worst performing currency and the picture against the performance against the dollar. Now, we saw the appreciation, the sharp, consistent, remarkable appreciation of the cedi against the dollar right from February up until just some couple of weeks ago that we saw the depreciation of the cedi. And questions were asked as to how that can and should be sustained, especially because the structure of the economy hasn't changed. The fundamentals really hasn't changed. Policies have been implemented. Gold Board has been one that has been singled out for the contribution as well, and the Bank of Ghana's own policy. Well, Dr. Adeosu Sakode is joining us on Zoom right now. Doc is a lecturer at the University of Ghana Economics Department. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I want to find out from you, first of all, beyond what Bloomberg is ranking right now, you've been seeing the volatility that the city has been experiencing over the last at least 2-3 weeks gone by. What's going on?
Well, we know that our exchange rate has likely been determined by so many factors, and the recent appreciation that we witnessed in the country is as a result of largely external factors: gold price, remittances, and a drop in the import bill. But the reverse is happening. The reverse is happening in terms of remittances, and the BOG has admitted the remittance inflow is a bit slower than anticipated. There's also a surge in importation because of the sharp appreciation of the cedi. Importers wanted to take advantage of it to import more. So the governor also admitted that this is temporary. We're hoping that things may change, but he did not put any date on it. So there are so many factors that are determining the exchange rate, which is not due to the structure of the economy, as you have indicated. If we have strong ownership of our exports, then things would have been different, because since 2017 up to date, Ghana has been exporting more than we import. So this shouldn't be the case. Now, somebody will ask, where is the money? It's because we are not the owners of the exports. Gold is doing very well now. Ghana today is the #1 producer of gold in Africa, #6 in the whole world. Last year, we produced 130 tons, that's about 5.9 million ounces of gold. If our share in the gold production was greater, our gold reserves by now would have been far higher and things would have been different. So I think going forward, we should try and find lasting solutions. I've seen that the BOG has put forward certain solutions, and the governor has admitted that they have enough reserves to intervene in the market. Remember that Ghana is practicing dirty floating exchange rate regime. In other words, they allow the exchange rate to move and they intervene when things are getting out of hand. So I'm sure with the reserves that we have in terms of dollars and gold, when things are getting out of hand, they'll be able to intervene to restore some stability. The retention law, MNCs, multinational companies, to retain certain amount of their profit in the country. The de-dollarization, as has been embarked by the BOG, is also important. So we have always been preaching stability instead of this volatility. The sharp appreciation, sharp depreciation does not augur well for businesses because they are unable to plan. If we are able to stabilize our currency, have strong ownership, stop this dollarization, improve on the retention law, I think things can be better. But at the end of the day, we are talking about the same thing that we've been preaching, the structure of our economy, where we have to try and reduce the importation, also have ownership of our exports. For me, that is the best way to go. We are blessed with gold, so we should take advantage of it. We should leverage on the gold that we have to stabilize our currency going forward.
I do appreciate it. And maybe in 30 seconds, the gold board is one to look at in this regard, what you just proposed?
Yes, the gold board, as a country, we have admitted, I think even from the previous administration, we all have admitted that we can leverage the abundance of gold that we have to stabilize our currency. So gold board should step up their game. They should do more purchases so that we can have more reserves. If things become critical, we should be able to sell some of the goods that we have to restore the value of our currency.
Thank you. Dr. Edu Osusakodi is an economist, a lecturer at the University of Ghana Economics Department. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your time. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.